Welcome to K-Zone. Today, we will share about the nuclear threat. What are the real chances of a World War III? Let's start. In a world constantly grappling with political, economic, and social challenges, the prospect of another global conflict looms ominously. This documentary, exploring the chances of World War III, delves into the complex factors that could potentially ignite a global conflict of unprecedented proportions. With the scars of the 20th century's world wars still fresh in our collective memory, we seek to understand the current geopolitical landscape and analyze the key factors contributing to the chances of World War III. Act 1: Historical Context. To understand the possibility of World War III, we must first look back at the history of global conflicts. The world witnessed two devastating world wars in the 20th century, each driven by complex political, economic, and social factors. World War II, which lasted from 1939 to 1945, remains one of the most destructive conflicts in human history. It was characterized by the involvement of numerous countries, widespread devastation, and the loss of tens of millions of lives. Several key historical factors contributed to the outbreak of World War II. Treaty of Versailles. The harsh terms of the Treaty of Versailles, which ended World War I, imposed heavy reparations and territorial losses on Germany. This economic and territorial instability provided fertile ground for the rise of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. Expansionism and aggression. Expansionist ambitions of Nazi Germany, Imperial Japan, and other nations played a crucial role in the outbreak of war. Germany's invasion of Poland in 1939 marked the beginning of the conflict. Alliance systems. The formation of military alliances, such as the Axis powers, Germany, Japan, Italy, and the Allies, including the United States, the United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union, further escalated tensions. Economic depression. The Great Depression of the 1930s exacerbated economic hardships and led to political radicalization in several countries, including Germany. Failure of diplomacy. Diplomatic efforts to prevent the outbreak of war, such as the Munich Agreement, ultimately failed, allowing the conflict to escalate. The aftermath of World War II gave birth to the United Nations, designed to prevent such catastrophic events from recurring. However, history has shown that tensions between nations can still flare up, and the lessons of the past are crucial to our understanding of the present. Act 2: Current Geopolitical Landscape. Today's world is marked by a complex web of international relations. Rising superpowers like China and resurgent Russia, alongside traditional global powers like the United States and the European Union, contribute to a dynamic and potentially volatile geopolitical landscape. Regional conflicts in the Middle East, Asia, and Eastern Europe, as well as issues like trade disputes and cyber warfare, add to the complexity. Act 3: The Role of Nuclear Weapons. One of the most significant factors in preventing a global war has been the doctrine of nuclear deterrence. The concept of mutually assured destruction, MAD, posits that if two nuclear-armed powers were to engage in a full-scale war, the consequences would be catastrophic for both sides. As a result, the fear of annihilation has, to a large extent, deterred major powers from engaging in direct military confrontation. However, the effectiveness of nuclear deterrence relies on rational decision-making by all parties involved. The risk arises when leaders miscalculate or when states acquire nuclear weapons without established communication channels and protocols, increasing the potential for misunderstandings and inadvertent escalation. Act 4: Economic Interdependence. In an era of economic globalization, nations are deeply interconnected through trade, finance, and supply chains. This economic interdependence can serve as a deterrent to all-out war, as the costs of conflict could be catastrophic for the global economy. However, economic tensions, protectionism, and resource scarcity can also become triggers for conflicts. Act 5: Technology and Warfare. The role of technology in shaping the global landscape cannot be underestimated. Advances in military technology, particularly in the field of cyber warfare and autonomous weapons, have the potential to disrupt the traditional balance of power. Cyber attacks, in particular, can destabilize nations and escalate conflicts without the need for traditional military engagement. Nuclear deterrence remains a significant factor in preventing large-scale conflicts. The possession of nuclear weapons by multiple nations creates a mutually assured destruction scenario. This nuclear taboo has, thus far, prevented the use of nuclear weapons in warfare since World War II. However, the proliferation of nuclear weapons to new actors or the erosion of international arms control agreements could increase the risk of nuclear conflict. Act 6: Rising Nationalism and Ideological Divides. The resurgence of nationalism and ideological divides within and between countries is a concerning trend. Populist leaders, ethnocentrism, and identity politics are stoking tensions, both domestically and internationally. These divisions can escalate conflicts, erode international cooperation, and increase the chances of a global confrontation. Act 7: The Role of Diplomacy and International Organizations. The establishment of international organizations like the United Nations, UN, was a direct response to the devastation of World War II. These organizations were created to facilitate diplomacy, conflict resolution, and cooperation among nations. While the UN and other international bodies have played crucial roles in maintaining global stability and preventing major wars, they are not without limitations. The effectiveness of international organizations often depends on the willingness of major powers to cooperate and abide by their decisions. The UN Security Council structure, with its 5 permanent members possessing veto power, can hinder swift and decisive action in times of crisis. Additionally, there have been instances where international organizations were unable to prevent conflicts, such as the Balkans in the 1990s and Syria in the 2010s. Assessing the chances of World War III in comparison to World War II reveals a complex and evolving global landscape. While historical lessons and various factors mitigate the likelihood of a large-scale global conflict, numerous challenges and potential flashpoints persist. The presence of nuclear weapons, ideological conflicts, and the influence of non-state actors make it essential for nations to remain vigilant and committed to diplomacy and cooperation. To avoid a catastrophic global conflict, it is imperative for nations to prioritize conflict resolution, strengthen international institutions, and address the root causes of regional tensions. While the chances of a world war of the scale of World War II may be lower today, the need for sustained efforts to maintain peace and stability remains as vital as ever in our interconnected world. Note: this documentary is a fictional creation and serves as a general exploration of the topic. It does not predict any future events or outcomes. Thanks for watching. Don't forget like, share and subscribe.